Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. Hope you guys are all doing good tonight. Nice to see all of you in the chat, by the way. Some people that I actually just got to hang out with last weekend, Saturday. So, shout out to all you guys. I had such a good time. It was really cool. And look, just tried a little local hangout this time around, but we'll try to do it again next year. And I hope you guys come again, and we'll try to expand it to a few more people. We were just doing it in Pillbox Bunker's backyard, so shout out to him. And it was really nice to see you guys. And of course, it's really nice to see you guys in the chat tonight. So, the Kyle Rittenhouse trial that's been going on for over a week now. And we've heard, hours, 40, 50 hours of testimony and questions from the prosecution, from the defense. And a lot of it, mostly from the prosecutors, from the state, just droning about all kinds of random, like, what's this have to do with anything? But this is a very, very important trial, in my opinion. Now, obviously, I'm not going to give a legal opinion, but I'm just a normal guy like the rest of you. And I have thoughts on this, and I'm sure you guys do too. This case, in my opinion, could have huge ramifications on, do we have the right to self-defense in this country? What does the Second Amendment actually mean? Because we know that it says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And I believe it says what it says, and it means what it says, and that it says the same thing now as it did in 1791, because that's when the Bill of Rights was written. But I'm talking from a practical matter. We actually have over 20,000 federal gun statutes, different forms of gun control laws, in other words. So obviously, by the sheer fact that we have over 20,000 gun control laws, the people in power, which were supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people, and that the government would be instituted amongst men. And the only reason the government would exist at all is to protect your natural rights. These are rights that are endowed by your creator. These are laws of nature and of nature's God. That's what the founding fathers said when they declared their independence from Great Britain. Now, they also talked about, after a long train of usurpations, which seems like they're usurping our founding documents more and more every day, aren't they? So the powers that be, whether that be the government, whoever that is, whatever that is, they call him the former vice president, right? Or is it the people? Do the people not believe the Second Amendment means what it means, and they're consenting and allowing the government to do that? Because we can blame the people in Washington all day long. But remember, and I don't mean literally you, because the people here watching tonight are amongst the top patriots that I know, some of the best people that I know. You guys are also some of the smartest people I know. But there must be somebody out there somewhere, probably like 99% of the people out there, that are totally fine with what's going on and all the restrictions to our rights that were not granted by government, but that the government be instituted to protect them. So we know that most people and the government, the people in Washington and your state legislators, maybe even your local mayor, maybe your city council, all of those types of things, they must not agree with me that it literally means shall not be infringed. And that means you can't even go 1 iota, 1 scintilla, 1 nanometer over that line, because shall not be infringed is a hard, specific line. So we know it must not mean that to many and most people, even though I believe that's what it means. And I'm sure probably not all of you, but most of you believe the same thing. But with 20,000 plus gun control laws, where are we at right now in the year 2021? Events that happened in 2020. If you have a mob, in my opinion, a deranged, crazed mob that were violent, unruly, wreaking havoc on a city, on people, people's livelihoods, their dreams, their businesses, things like that. Where are we at right now? And I think that's why this case is going to have such a big impact on the Second Amendment. It might not make actual legal precedents because this is not a case being heard by a federal appeals court or a state Supreme Court or anything like that. But I think this is a big temperature check of where we're at in this country. Does the Second Amendment mean that you have the right endowed by your creator to protect yourself from a mob, from dangerous people? Now, you're going to start off with the other side hearing, and this is what we've been hearing from the very beginning, that the kid shouldn't have been there. What was he doing there? Right? Why did he travel? They would make you believe across the country, across state lines. Yeah, technically across state lines, but that'd be like where I am in Michigan going to Toledo, Ohio. Actually, even closer than that for Kyle. It's like it's crossing state lines, but his dad lived there. He worked there. I think his aunt and uncle lived there. Other relatives lived there. This is like you drove a few minutes, right? And you're in another state. Well, they're starting off by saying he should have never been there. So do you have the right? Do you have the duty to try to protect your town, a town that you work in, that he was cleaning graffiti off of the school just the day before, where he actually felt that he had a connection to that town, obviously, working there, having family there. Also, the right of self-defense. See, it's my belief, as it was the Founding Fathers' belief, that the government doesn't give you the right to self-defense, that you already have that. You already have the right of self-defense. It's the most natural right there is. The right to live, the right to protect yourself, right? I mean, literally, if people didn't have the right to survive, or any species doesn't have that, it doesn't have the will to survive, then it will just go extinct, I guess. If people didn't try to survive, if the Americans didn't try to survive, colonists at that time, still technically proper British subjects, back in 1775 in Massachusetts, right? In Massachusetts, the shot heard around the world. Now, a little over a year later, they declare their independence. If the Americans, soon to be Americans, colonists, patriots they're called, if they didn't have the will to survive and to fight for their lives, for their posterity, for themselves, but not only themselves, but for their children, their children's children, and believe it or not, actually, for us, almost 250 years ago, well, then I guess we wouldn't have America anymore. So it's my belief that, of course, obviously you can protect yourself. And that's not because of a Wisconsin statute. That's not even because of the Second Amendment enshrined in the Bill of Rights. It's because you just literally have it. Do you guys agree with me? I'm assuming a lot of you do. Some of you might not. So I watched a lot of the footage. I watched a lot of it where they were playing the multiple camera angles back and forth. And I saw a lot of chaos, a lot of people that looked like they meant harm on most certainly property, bashing in cars by the dozens, setting them on fire, buildings on fire, dumpsters on fire, stealing stuff for a church to take it out in the street and set it on fire. The revolution, they call it, right? They call it the revolution, but not the type of revolution like the American Revolution. This is a new revolution that we'll just call them the other side. You can call it the left if you want it. You can call it this and that. But it's hard to really frame it because basically the people that want America, people like me, I believe Kyle, to remain this republic, and with all the restrictions we have, still a somewhat free country, there's that side. Then we'll say the other side who wants to literally destroy America and everything about it. And you don't have to take my word for it. They'll literally tell you that themselves. And they want to destroy. So that's what I saw going on. And I saw it happening actually all over the country. They call it the media. The media gets on there. And they call it mostly peaceful protest, right? Mostly peaceful. Yeah, speaking of revolutions, I see John Rice here, the Bolshevik Revolution. And we talked about that on this channel before. And I'll tell you guys what's really going on here. And we'll talk a little bit about the Kyle case. Look, I'm not an attorney, but you know what? These attorneys making legal arguments, I don't hear a whole lot of them, quite frankly. And I'm sure there's some that are. And I'm sure there's some that are doing it like 100 times better than me. But I don't hear many of these attorneys. They say, well, according to Wisconsin statute this and public act that, he has the right to defend himself. Well, hold on. I don't hear many of them talking about what's truly going on here. There is a revolution. And I've showed these in my streams before. Maybe some of you guys will be seeing these for the second time. Maybe some of you guys are new here, and this is just a couple pieces, a couple artifacts from, we could say, a fallen empire, or we could say not at all, because this is still going on today. Today, and these new revolutionaries, in my opinion, just from what I hear them espousing, they still want this, and they're still fighting for this. And this was called the Bolshevik Revolution. And these are the first Soviet currencies. You can see right here, these are original specimens that were hand cut out by hand off of sheets right after this revolution, just a couple years later in 1917. So if you guys remember, I'm not going to give you a long history lesson because I don't know everything about it, and we could talk 2 hours just on that. But if you guys remember the Tsar of Russia, Tsar Nicholas, right? The Bolsheviks came in. Not really a whole lot different than these mostly peaceful protesters. They destroyed, they pillaged, they took up arms, which I saw Kyle defend himself against armed people too. And they went in and they overtook the palace, the building that he lived in, and they killed him, and they killed his family and his young daughters. And when they were trying to escape, he had a couple daughters, and one of them was named Anastasia, and they put the jewels, the crown jewels, on their children to try to get some of their assets out of there, and they went to leave as the Bolsheviks were physically running over their home, and they tried to escape, from what I recall, through tunnels, exits of the basement, and they caught up to him down there, and they just started executing them, like I believe Kyle would have been executed had he not defended himself. And in my personal opinion, he did defend himself. I'll cut right to the chase, and I believe it was self-defense. I don't believe he should even been prosecuted, but I did see some other people on the stand that probably should be prosecuted, in my opinion. But they were sitting there shooting the one little girl. She wasn't dropping after being shot. It's like, what the heck's going on? Well, she had so many jewels underneath the coat that it was actually acting like a body armor. I mean, I'm sure none of us have enough money to do it, but if you were to, put a bunch of rubies and diamonds and precious jewels out, they would actually stop bullets, a lot like a piece of ceramic will. Well, these jewels actually would stop it even better. And that's basically what they did. Look, this is a belief. This is a belief that has always led to, and in my opinion, always will be, because you can just look past and see this. Different regimes, different countries, they call it a little bit different things. It can be called Bolsheviks. It can be called communism. They talk about socialism, right? They talk about, if you look at Mussolini with the fascism, which is very similar, but it creates an unholy alliance and an unfair advantage where you have the large businesses and the government colluding together. Some of you might find that quite familiar today too, actually. And it says here, and you have because you can't even talk about much here on YouTube anymore. And by the way, I appreciate all you guys real quick. Just I want to thank you guys for helping to support the channel. Patreon supporters, channel members, the generous super chats you guys leave me. Look, they demonetized that last video on here, restricted it, all of that stuff. And they do it to me very, very frequently. So I appreciate it, guys, a lot. And there's certain keywords on here that they don't even want you to talk about. So I'll say that Reich that was supposed to last 1,000 years in Germany, right? Well, I believe it's still going on right now, and I believe they are trying to start another cultural revolution in this country. But we'll go over this one. Just, the Bolsheviks took control of Russia. I'm reading off of this little card. It's real small, guys, but it's something important to remember. The Bolsheviks took control of Russia during the October Revolution of 1917, establishing the Russian Socialist Federated Soviet Republic, a precursor to the USSR. This undersized note was among the first issues of the new communist government. It says the first Soviet currency, 40 by 48 millimeters. This 1919 currency note was featured with a hammer and sickle insignia. And there's people that abide by that today. 1, 2, and 3 rubles, respectively, hand cut. I have the 1 and 2 here. I'd like to get the 3rd for my collection, but I haven't seen the 3 rubles one. So you have people that literally, what do they call him? They call him Gage, right? I think they call him Gage. He has ties and was speaking with revolutionary groups. That's what I heard in the testimony. Didn't you guys? Now, here's the deal. These guys would like you to believe that they're part of like this punk rebel thing where like we're going against the mainstream. You guys heard that? That's what they like to act like. No, they're actually not. Because if you listen to the mainstream media, which is probably the most powerful branch of the United States government, either that or Amazon and others that are equivalent, Google, hi Susan Wiki, they call her, are probably the most powerful branch of the government, to be honest. Now you're going to say, well, hold on to AEDU. We're supposed to have 3 separate but equal branches. Sure, we're supposed to. We're also supposed to have a Second Amendment that protects your right to keep and bear arms that was given to you by your creator and says shall not be infringed. But we have 25,000 federal gun control laws. So it might not sound so absurd now, does it? When I say, well, the mainstream media and some of the top level corporations just might be, I'm saying might very sarcastically, might be the most powerful branch of the government, like literally. So don't think for 1 minute that these people are the underdogs. Kyle's the underdog. And the Second Amendment's the underdog. And I hate to say it, but being an American and believing that you have the right endowed by your creator to protect yourself, your family, your country, that is actually the underdog right now. I don't like that. I'm not happy to say that, but that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? It appears when you have the mainstream media saying, what was the kid doing there? It was just a mostly peaceful protest. Shot and killed unarmed people for no reason. These are very, very powerful people that are worth billions of dollars telling you that. So actually, we're the underdog now in this country. And our founding documents are the underdog in this country. And Kyle's the underdog in this country. Look, we fought a revolution. Started in 1775, lasted about 10 years. And that was a revolution actually to get the boot of the King of England off of the colonists, soon to be Americans, necks. And this was a revolutionary war to start this grand experiment on self-governance. As Ben Franklin said when he was asked, what do we have, sir? A monarchy or a republic? He said a republic if you can keep it, right? You guys need to remember that. Well, there's another revolution, in my opinion. And these are not just a bunch of college kids. Now, some of them may be. These are not just a bunch of mom's basement or otherwise various young adults. Although many of those believe they're part of this too. No, it's actually the mainstream media. And it's big tech. And it's big corporations. And it's real. And I think what happens in this case, whatever the outcome is going to have huge ramifications. And it's going to show the temperature of where America is with unalienable rights. And whether you have the right to defend yourself in the midst of a violent mob. Do you guys kind of think the same thing? So, yeah, I mean, Kyle, he seems like a pretty nice guy from what I've seen of him. I don't know him personally, but I watched him testify. Seems like a pretty nice dude. And this is about Kyle, and I'm wishing the young man well. But it's also about your right to self-defense, in my opinion. It might not have legal precedence over your local district court. I get that. But that's how things change. When you have what's called a sea change, it means things are drastically changing. And once America accepts these changes, it's really, really hard to go back. Really, really hard to go back. And there's a super chat here that's kind of what I'm talking about. TJ Drama, thanks for the super chat, man. It says, if Kyle lost this case, no one would ever be able to use an AR to defend your life in this country again. That's my opinion. Have a good night, everybody. Well, hopefully you're not leaving already. Hopefully I get to thank you for the super chat, man. And look, dude, I pinned it up there because I didn't want to lose it, but I didn't let copy off you. We're both thinking the same exact thing, man. Like, this is kind of like a really, really big deal right now. Hey, Ray, how you doing? Nice to see you. I hope you're doing good. Ray's in the chat tonight. She's been a long-time friend of mine and friend of the channel. Nice to see you. Nita Villar, Forge and Woodcraft. Thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it, dude. He said, we see Kyle on trial. The Castle Doctrine is really on trial. That is who the leftists have on trial. Yeah, different states have different things. In some states, when they say Castle Doctrine, that means to protect your home or business. That's your castle, okay? Look, but no, I agree with you. What it is what's on trial right now. Do you have the right to keep and bear arms? Because just keeping them is one thing, like in the safe, at the range. Because don't forget when they say, oh, we don't want all your guns. You can still take them to the range. Look at many countries in Europe right now. You can own a gun and you have to pay for it and everything. But it has to be locked at a gun club. You can only buy so many rounds of ammunition a month. And you can take it out of the locker at the gun club, shoot it, put it back in the locker, but not too many rounds because you can only store so many in your home. You can only buy so many, and it's all super expensive. No, to keep and bear arms, meaning when seconds matter, the police are only minutes away in your best case scenario. But in this case, you had lawlessness. You had WROL, without rule of law. And the police actually weren't like responding at all whatsoever. So when you find yourself in that situation like Kyle did, you ain't going to call the cops. They're not going to help you. They're not. And people might like to think that they can purchase a little security, but I'll tell you what, Ben Franklin talked about that too. Those who would give up an essential liberty for a little bit of perceived safety or security deserve neither and will ultimately wind up with neither. And this is a very, very valuable lesson that Ben Franklin taught us with our government, obviously, and even actually in life generally. You might get one or two or three or maybe 4 or 5 people that would truly lay themselves on the line to protect you. But most of the time, as good of friends as you have or don't have, and they're good friends, I get it. They're fun to hang out with. How many people are truly just going to be there and lay themselves out in front of whatever it is to protect you? If you have 1 or 2 people, you're really lucky, right? You're not going to purchase security. You're responsible for your own safety. You're responsible for your own security. And that's what it means to be a sentient being. Look, we're not just a bunch of bees that just the queen bee tells us, you will drone to a flower, pick the nectar, come back to the nest. Like, that's the difference between us and many types of animals and insects and things like that, right? Now, look, the fact that we have free thought and we have freedom of choice and we have things like our conscience and all these different things that we weigh in our head, but ultimately you can kind of do whatever the heck you want to do. Keep in mind, there may be ramifications for that. There may be punishments for that. You may regret what you did, but the fact that you have the ability to be a free person and think and do things, with that becomes great responsibility. And it comes with responsibilities like doing unto others as you would have them do unto you, and to never tread on anyone else's rights. But you're also responsible for your own safety and your own security. And I think that's really what's on trial right now. That whole don't worry about it, you don't need guns, that's what we have police for. That didn't work for Kyle. And it may or may not work for you when you need to defend yourself, because you may not be in the middle of a riot. You may just be in your little peaceful neighborhood and someone's banging your door in and they have a gun, they have a knife, they have their hands and feet. That's something else I'm going to bring up in a minute about the trial. More people are killed with hands and feet every year than these type of rifles that they're demonizing. And don't you forget that. And someone may be coming in your house to kill you or assault you or do irreparable harm to you or your family. And if you call the cops and it's the only thing you have that you purchased with your tax dollars, the theft of your money to the government, we call it many things, right? That you purchased, they may probably in most cases show up just to write a report of what already happened. Maybe put an outline of your body on the ground, that kind of stuff, right? Think about it. TJ Drama, thanks for another super chat, man. He says, question, if Kenosha was a mostly peaceful protest, then why was the FBI flying their drones and doing their usual BS? Why use the resources? That's a good point. Well, if you want to ask me my blunt answer, because it wasn't a mostly peaceful protest. Of course they knew it wasn't. It was a violent, destructive riot, and they knew that. The media would like to tell you different, though, wouldn't they? They'd like to say, it was just a bunch of peaceful protesters, didn't do anything wrong. Kyle went in there and was at a place where he shouldn't be, they'll tell you. And why was he even there? And he shouldn't have been allowed to be there, right? This is very, very important. And I'm kind of worried right now, guys. I'll get this out of the open because probably you guys are all in the chat right now saying he's innocent, he's guilty. Okay, well, we have a system in place in this government that was technically set up by the founding fathers, but I've seen it perverted and twisted so much over the last 240 years. I bet you if there was even one single founding father alive today, they probably wouldn't even recognize what our current legal system is and all these systems. In my opinion, you guys can let me know if you agree or not. Look, he is innocent. You guys are probably saying in the chat, I saw a couple people there out of the corner of my eye, right? And if you just ask me straight up, do I believe he's innocent? Yes, I do. Very strongly. Like, I would say, is he innocent of all charges? That if you just wanted my opinion, 100% on all charges. Because now we found out the firearm didn't cross state lines. While he wouldn't be able to legally own that firearm in Illinois, it was legal to own there. There's this complicated statute that makes no sense, something about hunting, this and that. But what it comes down to really is it's a law that says you can't have these guns if you're under 18, but it doesn't apply to 17 or 16-year-olds. It's convoluted. If you even listen to the judge trying to hash it out today when they were going through some motions and some the charges and all that kind of stuff. I just got an alert. Robbie, I don't want to say your last name. Robbie just became a patron. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. And thanks for all you guys who have been there a long time because YouTube's not making it easy on me at all. And that's why you guys should come over to Locals because there we can talk about many things we can't hear. I normally stream there every Saturday night around 9:30. The link to it's down in the description. It's free to join. You can support. If you support, you get access to a little more on there. You can create your own posts. You can comment, all that. But I'm posting deals up almost every day that are really helping you guys find awesome deals for stuff I can never show on here or even like talk about it, right? And then we've got Mateo posting news every day. We've got so many of you guys. Radom guy posted a detailed and dissection of 22 ammo with different powders. Just today, a guy named Ryan 556 Freedom posted a review of his Forge Tech holster. There's lots of cool stuff on there, guys. And there's ways we can help support over there totally free. So there you go. I appreciate you guys with that. Trust me. Real quick here before I get off on too much of a rant. Marco Polo, thanks for the super chat, dude. I appreciate it, man. This case, I am torn. No wins. The FBI crap, wow. The FBI, I'm actually shocked. We need an investigation on them and their process. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, what they're doing with NICS checks and how many of them are false denials, which I knew most of them were, but it's probably even worse than a lot of people thought, and they're admitting to it now. But back to the whole Kyle thing. I believe he's innocent, okay? I really, really do. Hey, JJ Rainey, what's happening, man? Hope you got a good deal and help support the channel at the same time. I love win-wins. I really do. And we have a lot of opportunity for that over on Locals, guys. Links in the description. I'm serious. And there's like 800 people there now. So it's so good to see so many of you trying out an alternate to big tech. Look, I think he's innocent. In my own opinion, I've listened to a lot of stuff on all of the charges, all of them. Will he be found innocent by a jury of his peers? This is going to be another one of those things. And I've done this before. If you guys remember a while back, I said, I think they're going to come after the braces. I think the ATF's going to come after the braces. And I literally did a video about it. It's on my channel. It's restricted. You probably won't see it anymore because they pound a good number of my videos on here. They don't like them. But I was talking about, I said, 5 pistols that Biden may ban soon. And I actually talked about the braces. And that was like the day after the former vice president assumed himself with his cup of pudding or whatever he has, his sippy cup, on Pennsylvania Avenue. I'll just call it that. When he assumed space on Pennsylvania Avenue. And look, they did it. So this is going to be in the same vein as that. I don't want to be right. I hope so bad this next Friday. It's like, gosh, guys, I was wrong and I'm so happy. But if I were to take a guess right now, I don't think he's going to be found innocent by the jury. But I want him to be. But I really, really want him to be. So don't mistake this. Sometimes people will guess something because they want it. If I was doing that, I'd say, guys, he's going to get off on all charges. But I don't want to lie to you because people are kind of asking me on the side here what I think. There's some big problems with the case itself. What actually happens plain as day. I mean, getting chased down by a mob, jump kick man, kicks him in the face, head. Yeah. Just remember this. This is the statistic that you can look up. I'm not making this up. This is from the FBI, the same people with the drones and all that, right? More people are killed with hands and feet every year than these types of rifles that they're demonizing, that Kyle used, that they want to ban. That's a fact. Do you guys remember the defense, the state? Boy, are those nasty people. Oh my gosh. That prosecutor, assistant prosecutor, these are nasty people. I've not seen anybody. I mean, these people just make you just, you just cringe watching these people. The one with a thin little mustache, one of the nastiest, most hateful, conniving, sleazy people I think I've almost ever even seen. And I hang out on YouTube a lot. I see a lot of sleazy things going on. You know what I mean? Susan Wiki, how's it going? And then the other one, they call him all kinds of things. I don't want to make fun of his weight, but they call him many things. The other one, right? These are nasty, nasty, despicable human beings. But the problem is this. They've been berated by the judge several times. But they always get those little things in when it comes to actual stuff that a lot of times matters, like jury instructions, what can be admitted to evidence or not. Motions. And it did not go good today at all, guys. In my opinion, it did not go good at all. But they're saying, oh, all he did is used his foot. He only used one foot to kick you in the head. What made you think you need to defend yourself with this huge rifle? Well, first of all, the rifle's not huge. The one he had probably weighs about 8 pounds. It shoots, quite frankly, and this is not me underestimating the lethality of it. Obviously, lethal. Obviously. The shoots a varmint round, such a diminutive round that actually in many states, I don't know a list of all of them, but look it up. In many states, you can't even hunt white-tailed deer with the firearm that Kyle used. Did you guys know that? No, not because of what they said on The View or whatever show that was a while ago, where it's become meme culture now, where they're like, you can't use that to shoot deer. If you shoot a deer, poof, it's all gone. There wouldn't be any meat left. No, you actually can't shoot it because the round's so diminutive, especially when you get out to range. It wouldn't be reliable enough to be an ethical kill. Yeah, that's the round. And they're saying he just used one foot. He just kicked you in the head. I mean, it's just your head. Like, that's not an important part. Did you guys notice how that was all implied by the state, the prosecutors? Well, how many feet did he use? He only used 1 foot. That meant that you needed to... Serious. It's only a skateboard. He grabbed it by the trucks and, like, used the leverage. It's just a skateboard. Look, more people are killed with blunt objects in hands and feet every year than they are with these types of rifles. And it's a fact. And the defense screwed up big time. Now, did I expect Kyle to be able to say that? First of all, I don't know why he was on the stand. I have no idea why he was on the stand. Not a lawyer, but I was going to be a lawyer at one time, and I was going through taking some undergrad level, like political science, up in the advanced ones that normally you would take before you went into law school. And I never went to law school, guys, but I remember they were like 101. When you do the section on, you don't put the defendant on the stand. Very rarely you do, but they put him on the stand, and I'm not blaming Kyle that he didn't think of it, but they're literally sitting there, the prosecutor saying, he only used 1 foot on you. That doesn't lethal force. It was only a skateboard. And then they even went through with that gauge and said, it's only a Glock. That's such a small gun compared to your big gun. What the heck is wrong with these lawyers, these defense lawyers? If these defense lawyers, this is just all in my opinion, if I needed a defense lawyer, I'll just put it this way, because I don't want to attack them as human beings. I don't know them. I wouldn't hire them. They literally, the prosecutor was allowed to get by with Kyle on the stand, badgering him, berating him over and over and over. If the defense even asked one of the prosecutor's witnesses something similar, they'd say, objection, asked and answered. Those defense lawyers sat there. After putting him on the stand, which is like, just look it up, guys. Ask another, I'm not a lawyer. Ask lawyers. Putting the defendant on the stand? Wow. Waiving your right to remain silent and subjecting yourself to cross-examination of these brutal, ruthless prosecutors. These are not nice people. Did you guys see that? Ruthless. And they're saying, well, it was only a foot. Yeah. And nobody spoke up at any point and said, and more people are killed with hands and feet every year than they are these types of rifles. Well, the skateboard, what's that? That's a blunt object that more people are killed by every year than blunt objects. Than these type rifles. Did you guys notice that, or was that just me? I don't think it was just me, but by far most of the gun people and the conservatives were all like, oh my gosh, huge victory for Kyle in court. It's going so good. It's like, no, actually, I don't think it is. No, I hope he wins. Gosh, I hope he wins. It means so much for him personally, who I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Kyle. You know, go Kenosha Kid. Like, I'm doing all that along with all of you. Like, come on, go get him, kid, you know? Young man. The fact that went uncontested. Couldn't even believe it. In a million years, I'm like, only a foot to the head? Are you kidding me right now? You guys are probably actually answering me right now, and I'll read all this after the fact, guys. I always do. What do you guys think? Putting the defendant on the stand? Wow. Just literally wow. Now, look, I'm not an internet lawyer. Maybe there's a lawyer or two in here, but maybe there's a criminal defense lawyer. Let me know. Hopefully there is a really good one in here. Wow. Waiving your Fifth Amendment, right? I mean, that's like, okay. Shooting Gallery, New England. What's happening, dude? Thanks for the super chat, man. He said, glad I have a night off to listen live. And I'm glad you do too, that you get to hang out with us, dude. Awesome, man. And I'll be emailing you soon. My schedule's in complete chaos, but I'm going to be looking forward to hanging out on your channel here for a stream. So you guys will have to make sure you're ready for that. And in the meantime, go check out Shooting Gallery, New England. And yeah, he was nice enough to offer me to come hang out with him. And I like him. He's a pretty base dude. And so, yeah, we'll be hanging out over there in the next couple weeks, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I just need to get my feet back on solid ground with how chaotic my schedule is. So they're literally sitting there and they're saying, did you guys hear that? Now, it's not an exact quote, but this is the gist of it. He only hit you with 1 foot? He only kicked you with 1 foot? Excuse me? Only kicked with 1 foot. Yeah, that's lethal force. Look, guys, this is how this works. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. It's called U.S. v. Miranda. They have to read you your rights, right? It's called, you have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, the state will appoint one in your defense. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. It literally means what it says, and it says what it means. We've all watched a million videos from attorneys that have put videos out that have got millions of views that say, don't talk to police, never talk to police, get a lawyer, the right to remain silent. Because you notice what it doesn't say when they read you your rights is, anything you say may be used against you, but may be used for you. You can never, ever, ever talk yourself out of jail. You can never talk yourself into a conviction, or out of a conviction, rather. But you can talk yourself into jail, and you can talk yourself into conviction. He cried on the stand, guys. I don't know if that looks good for him or bad for him, and I don't blame him at all. Would I cry over that? And I'm twice his age? More than twice his age? Maybe. Probably. He's watching his mom cry out there. He's having to rehash. And these brutal, nasty prosecutors are literally sitting there saying, you did this, and then you intended to kill. And they're putting words in his mouth. Remember that? And you intended to do this. And he said, no, I never intended to kill them. I never wanted to take a life. I just wanted to stop the threat. I just wanted to stop them from hurting me. I wanted to stop them from harming me. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what Kyle was saying on there. Of course he cried. Did that look good or bad on him? I don't know. Some could say it made him look good because he has a conscience and he's not a killer. But I think actually a lot of jurors are going to look at that he was crying for remorse. And you wouldn't feel sad unless you did something wrong. I hope not. But I believe a lot of jurors might think that. I don't blame the kid for crying. The young man, okay? When you get old like me, you say a kid, young man, okay? I don't know. He cried on the stand, guys. A lot of people, I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Seriously. I'm going to look at some of them right now. I mean, Timothy Patriot saying he would have cried too. PTSD. I'm not knocking him as a person at all for crying. I want to know why the heck he was on the stand. I'm not going to rehash the whole case, but I'm talking about some problems with it. Gosh. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Kenosha Kid. I want him to win so bad. I want this former vice president, by the way, to be impeached. I know there was a circuit court ruling, but even the original judge's ruling, the fact that the White House came out right away and said, oh, just ignore that. Just ignore that and keep implementing these policies for certain healthcare decisions, right? Should be impeached right now. High crimes and misdemeanors going against a co-equal branch of government. But look. Let's go, Brandon, in the way that that's meant to be. And let's go, Kyle, in a good way. I'm rooting for him. I want him to win so bad. And Angry Fishing says he handled it better than most grown men, especially better than most police. But here's the problem. I don't know, guys. Here's the problem. They obviously thought there was something Kyle could do to win the trust or appeal or whatever to the jury, because here's the facts of the matter. Kyle's not a subject matter expert. He can't assert to anything. In fact, everything he says is just a reaccount of his own events. And since he's the actual defendant, he is allowed to recount the events. But if he was anyone else, they would just say hearsay, hearsay, hearsay. And actually, in those jury instructions, those jurors are told, like, you don't just take some layman's word for any specific legal realm of anything. You can only listen to experts. So for Kyle to say, I thought this, I believe that. Yes, it does go to his state of mind, and that's probably why they put him up there, but half the stuff the jury's going to dismiss as hearsay. I don't know. Look, probably everybody would have cried if they were on the stand in his. I mean, looking at his mother. His mother's crying. Ooh. But I don't think it was good that he cried on the stand. I'm not making fun of him, though. Please, please do not mistake what I'm saying, guys. Sometimes it can be misconstrued. Like, since it wasn't good, I think he did bad. I don't think he did a bad job on the stand. Probably better than a lot of us would have. But I don't think it helped him too much. What do you guys think? Some of you guys are saying right now in the chat that you were crying just watching it. And I understand that. I didn't cry, but I kind of noticed my eyes were getting a little watery, and I kind of had very emotional. Another thing that's bothering me is this whole what type of bullet was in the, what type of projectile was in the casing, the ammunition. And I realized like nobody on there even knows anything about guns at all. The prosecution knows nothing about guns. The defense appears to know nothing about guns. And actually, what is it? Sheriff Vicious, how do you pronounce his name? The bald guy? He said, I don't know much about guns, but am I correct that? Dude, you're representing the defendant in one of the biggest trials of the century. So far in this century. One of the biggest ones. Where it actually tells us like whether the Second Amendment's going to be able to be freely exercised, used in this country, possibly. Because look, it's the will of the people. You're in the court of public opinion too. Once this trial is out of the proper district courtroom there, you're actually what's called the court of public opinion. And the attorneys don't know anything about guns. He literally admitted it. The one defense lawyer goes, well, I don't know much about guns, but they could have had me go in there. I could have literally sat there, not been his lawyer, but I could have been like one of their guys there right behind him where they could have just turned around and I could have been passing them notes. I could have been hired as a consultant, whatever. And I could have said, more people killed with hands and feet. Now, I wouldn't be the best person for them to hire for that. I'm just saying little old me, nobody. A guy with a small YouTube channel that hangs out with a bunch of awesome people on here every Friday night. There's gun people that know 10 times more than me, I'm sure, probably. Maybe not 10 times, because I do know quite a bit. There's probably someone that knows 9.5 times more than me, though. I promise. Defense lawyer's like, I don't know much about guns, but how does this work? When you rack the gun? No, that's a pistol. You could call it rack, but it's usually referred to as charge. They didn't know what the slide was, the bolt. I don't even think they know that there's a bolt carrier. And they also don't know much about 5.56 ammunition, because when the prosecutor said, you guys are going to remember this if you've watched it at all. And by the way, guys, I'm probably missing awesome chats. I promise you guys, I read them all through out the weekend afterwards. So if you're just saying hi to me, encouragement, I'll see it. And I appreciate all of you for leaving me such good comments last week. But when they said, why didn't you? This was the state. When the state lawyer, Binger, right? Is that his name? Binger says, were you using hollow point? No, he was using a full metal jacket, FMJ bullet, right? Okay. He says, but you should have used a hollow point, because when a hollow point bullet hits the target, it explodes. And they're all looking around and does it explode? I don't know. Does it explode? I don't know. Does anyone know? This is like murder and many other counts. Biggest trial of the year where the gun, everything to do with it, the bullet, the projectile, is like much of the subject matter. You know it's going to be one of the main things of the case. And all these people are literally sitting there going. It reminded me when they literally said, Mr. Former Vice President, what's going to be your national security policy? And he said, I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize Shubin and Amina national pressure. Do you guys remember that? That's the former vice president. The most popular, and I would note, fortified of all time. It kind of sounded like a bunch of gibberish in that courtroom. I'm sitting there saying, hold on a minute. Yes, I agree. The prosecutor needs to go to jail. Fine, Rich, what's happening, man? And that's what I was just about to say. The judge corrected them. I would have thought within seconds the defense lawyer that's trying essentially, it's a self-defense case. There's many aspects, but it's a gun case. The gun is the one of the main subject matters. You thought the defense lawyer would have been like, objection. It doesn't explode. Judge corrected. Okay. So then they made this big argument. The prosecution did. And I didn't hear the defense really say anything about it. Not anything that mattered. Did you guys? Let me know. Let me know. They said since it was a full metal jacket projectile, that it would just pass right through him. Just pass right through him, and then it could potentially injure or possibly kill other bystanders. You guys remember that whole argument by the prosecution? No. Look, bullets can pass through. I get it. That 40 caliber Glock 27 that Gage had that I believe he would have used. And I believe his friend was lying on the stand, by the way. I believe he really did say that his only regret was he didn't empty all the rounds into Kyle. I think that was the truth. And I think his friend lied to get him off. But I digress. It's possible. But if you really think about it, if you think about how 223.556 works in a full metal jacket, keep in mind what these rounds are actually designed to do. We know hollow point doesn't explode. It could open up. It could leaf out. It could mushroom. Different words for this. It leafs out. The petals will open. Sometimes it actually doesn't open at all. It depends if you hit something with enough hydraulic fluid medium, right? It doesn't open up when it hits glass. It doesn't open up when it hits wood. It has to hit fluidic medium. And sometimes you hit a spot of the body where it's so narrow that it actually doesn't open up at all, right? And no two bullets act exactly the way every time. It's not always in real life like YouTube where you shoot into an exact temperature and amount of gel that's exactly calibrated. Things don't always work that way in real life. I get it. But with that said, where was the rebuttal that actually the normal way these work is very light projectiles compared to most rifle rounds? You've got, let's just say, and there's exceptions, guys, but let's say commonly between about the 55 grain to the 75, maybe 77 grain range for commonly available, full metal jacket. I was able to find a federal offering of Federal American Eagle 75 grain, okay, FMJ. All right. Actually, when it hits the body, what it's known to do is what's called yaw, where it doesn't just pierce a straight hole through the target and then just keep straight in line and keep going and going through however many people are standing in its path, which is what the prosecution, in my opinion, very successfully argued. Now, hold on, before you guys berate me, hold on a minute. It didn't convince you, and they didn't do a good job with you because you're all gun people. But the defense lawyers, they didn't have a good rebuttal. They didn't know what to say. The judge refuted that, yes, hollow point doesn't explode. I get it. But even the judge was tapped out when it came to truly knowing how 223.556 ammo works. It yaws and or tumbles. And they're synonyms, but they're not the exact same thing. Tumble, end over end, yaw, meaning veer. Okay? It veers. At that close of range when Kyle fired those shots, it's my opinion that most of the time, because there's always an exception with anything with ammo, weird stuff happens, you know what I mean? Any full metal jacket 5.56 would yaw, and here's why. Hold on a minute. So M855 will yaw at a much longer distance because it's a very fast projectile. And M855, okay, it's known at long distances, once you get out to several 100 yards and then beyond that, to just what's called ice pick and just go right through people. That's because it's lost enough velocity, and I'm not an ammo expert, but you got to keep 5.56 up above about 2,500-ish, maybe 2,600 foot per second for it still to be able to have that yawing or tumbling effect. And when it yaws, okay, that means it's not just punching right through. Several things happen, okay? Several things happen. You'll have the cantilever of the bullet starting to mushroom out. You can have it veering, yawing, tumbling. It's actually meant to be very unstable when it hits the fluidic medium of the body, which does a lot more damage than just a teeny little .22 caliber hole. That's the purpose of the round. Some people say it's better to wound a soldier on the battlefield, a fellow enemy combatant, so two of his fellow fighters are out of the fight to drag him to safety. We talk about this stuff, okay? I'm not a military expert, but you guys all know we talk about this, what the round does, what it's designed to do. Even 75 grain, if you are that close to somebody, that close, it's still going to have that speed threshold. Now, it may not after it gets out to a couple hundred yards anymore, 300 yards, but at that close of a range, all of these bullets, FMJ, are going to go fast enough where they're actually designed to yaw and or tumble in a fluidic medium, which your body's like, what, 90% water. So when I say fluidic medium, a body, person, animal, okay, gel, things like that. Now, why is it again? I'm just some dude in his shop that like really likes guns a lot, and I love doing gun reviews, and I do touch guns in my live streams on Locals, guys, every Saturday. But also just a little nobody that just believes that, you know, the founding fathers were really, really smart men and were very courageous men and believes in this experiment on self-governance. Just wants to save my country the best I can and just to be an American. So, in other words, I'm a guy that you might not agree with me on anything, but a lot of you guys probably think somewhat like me-ish on certain things. I'm just a regular dude. I'm a nobody important. But I would have known that in just a second. Now, I'm not the only buddy that knows about this, because there's probably 50 of you that are like, nope, 5.56 is actually designed to yaw and to tumble, and it smushes itself a little bit before it usually when it first hits that target. In fact, the higher speed this stuff's going, the less likely it is generally to just pierce through somebody. And I would bet you right now, how many people's watching? I can't see. Maybe 200 people are watching right now. I don't know for sure. I bet you there's 30, 40, 50 of you in here that have probably been typing it and are right now. You're like, dude, the faster 2, 2, 3, 5, 5, 6 goes, the more it's designed to yaw, tumble, veer, we'll say, if you're not familiar with the word yaw. Yaw is, I'm not saying y'all. Shout out to all the Southern boys. They're like, hold on a minute. 2A EDU. He's a Yankee. He's a Flatlander. He's in Michigan. Why does he keep saying y'all? Well, howdy, y'all, to all of you in the South, because I do like all my Southern friends that hang out here. Yaw, right? Y-A-W. I just could tell, like, I'm listening to myself say it, and I'm like, this sounds like I'm saying y'all. So this gave me an excuse to shout out all the Southern boys and girls in here. Why couldn't the attorneys find somebody, talk to somebody, like, let's go Kyle in a good way. I mean, let's go Brandon in another way. But, dude, they could have called and talked to me on the phone for 5 minutes. So many people would have just helped them like it was nothing. Yeah, Timothy, Patriot prosecutors like to twist the narrative to fit their own. Oh, of course. Just like the fake news. Look, these people here, look, the narrative is everybody will be happy. It'll be utopia. Look at the amount of people Stalin killed. Lenin, Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin, General Mao. They portrayed a narrative with this too. This is just peace and abundance. Look at this. A hammer and a sickle. Everybody, look, each according to his work, each according to his need. Everyone will just, this is utopia till you look at the hundreds of millions of people that were killed in the last 100 and something years now under this revolution of the Bolsheviks, right? Of course, the prosecutors twist it. These are, by the way, those two people that work for the state, those prosecutors, these are not good people, in my opinion. They sent chills down my spine. I'm like, no, this is not good. And like I've said so many streams, and I'm going to say it again, this is a battle of good versus evil, ultimately. It is. And the Second Amendment's a very, very important tool that we have a government that was instituted amongst men, and that it would protect your God-given natural rights. Literally. So we can fight off evil. And there's always going to be evil, and there's always going to be good. And evil always prevails when good men do nothing. And these evil prosecutors, who in my opinion, these are nasty, evil, despicable, twisted people. They weren't just doing their job. It was more than that. It was more than that. I saw evil. You could just see it in their eyes. You could see it in their face. And I'm afraid evil prevailed in this trial. Because either there weren't any good people representing Kyle, or maybe they were good hypothetically, but they did nothing. They didn't have the knowledge to refute what a Full Metal Jacket 2235556 actually does. They didn't have the statistic, which everybody should know before you even dare represent somebody in a self-defense gun case, that more people are killed with hands and feet than they are these types rifles, and more people are killed with blunt objects with these types rifles, and that there was a mob and he was an imminent threat of losing his life. You have this Gage, this real beauty, this revolutionary Gage gets up there and admits on the stand, he admits that no, Kyle didn't raise the gun until I started to raise mine at him. And then I heard these motions today. I actually sat and listened to the motions. Motions basically means I move and have the court, I ask the court for this evidence to instruct the jury this way. You guys know what a motion is. You probably know more about it than me. Anyways. And they said, we move for this charge. It was a whole bunch of charges, one after another, or the lesser. You know what that means? That means that just increased the chances of Kyle getting in trouble. Because all states are different. Maybe they're not all different, but it varies vastly throughout these 50 states. But certain states have it where you can tell the jury, we're charging you with first degree, or the defendant rather, we're charging the defendant with first degree murder. And it has to meet this legal threshold. It has to meet all of these things before you can find him guilty of first degree murder. Now, first degree murder, when it comes to death, shooting people, right? It's as high as it gets. First degree murder. Okay. Well, that has the highest possible threshold to convict of, and the prosecution, in my opinion, overtly prosecuted him. And that can be a weakness sometimes when these zealous despots try to bite off more than they could chew. You know, pigs get fat, right? And hogs get slaughtered. So when they were so piggish and bullish on their greed and their tyranny, they bloated themselves out to the point where it's like, well, hold on a minute. We'd like some bacon. And then they get slaughtered. That's what happens to swine, pigs. And that's what can also happen to a bullish prosecutor, can't it? I've never seen a weaker, more tepid job of a defense attorney. Just literally sat there with nothing to say. Couldn't even get an argument out today. Chose to say nothing for most of it. And then when they did, it was like, really? I could convince this judge, and I'm not a lawyer. I'm not even particularly smart or good at speaking. But I'm just sitting there. I'm like, really? Just say something. Say, Schubert national pressure. And that probably would have been better. No, they put all these motions. We want to now give the jury where it can be first degree murder or the lesser. It can be this endangerment or the lesser. It can be that or the lesser. But that means they overcharged the case. And as much as the defense lawyers missed, in my opinion, many, many times, very missed rebuttals, let them badger Kyle to the point of tears on the stand. When that one's like, the one aunt, he was a good boy. All he did is skate. I mean, he had a skateboard everywhere. Oh, he was so cute. We went to Christmas dinner, and he was just a regular old boy, and he just took his skateboard everywhere. Didn't mention the fact, did she? The state's witness, when they're like, oh, excuse me, ma'am, and they're all little dollying her up on the stand. But look, I don't want anything bad against that guy's aunt, but at the same time, she didn't mention that he was holding his, I think it was his sister or brother, his brother at knife point for not cleaning his room and all this. Look, every witness was treated with respect up there, but Kyle, the defense, didn't do anything to stop him, didn't even slow him down, let them ask the same questions, badgering him just over and over and over again. Did you guys see it the same way I did? I might even have a totally unpopular opinion on here tonight, guys. I'm just being honest with you. They sit there and they just pounded the guy. They pounded Kyle over and over and over. And said, so you meant to, and your intention was to kill people. You wanted to kill them. And he said, no, I didn't want to kill anybody. The first time they asked that question, and they ask it again, the defense can object. Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered. You're not allowed to keep asking the same question. They must have asked him 30 times without an objection. He ends up in tears, okay? Now the motions, now they're saying they're going to allow all these lesser charges that still carry they still carry long prison sentences. So maybe instead of 25, 30 years, it might be 12 years, 9 years, 6. Look, you had Gage admitting that he had the gun up before Kyle raised the gun. You had all of this evidence. You had the reporter, that photographic journalist that admitted on there and said, you guys tried to make me change my statement. You had all this stuff going on. All this stuff going on that was so good in Kyle's favor. Now they're letting him try it on lesser charges. That actually really, really increases the state's chance of a prosecution. If you don't believe me, look at the obvious. The state was vehemently arguing that they want the jury. If they can't convict them in the first degree, they can convict them in the second. And if they can't convict them in the second, the third. Now, there's some variance because there's a bunch of charges here, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? They can find them guilty of the lesser charge. That's not a good thing because they knew that it was going to be very, very difficult to literally convict him in the first degree because that just has such a high burden. So the Reptile guys with a super chat and a channel member and locals and just a good dude all around. Thanks for supporting the channel, man. He said his lawyer and Kyle's team refused the help of Robert Barnes and a dream team of lawyers and officials that are special to people that wrote the book on defense. You know, I heard about that. And my inclination, now that I'm watching the way a lot of this stuff went, like when it came, especially after listening to all the motions and stuff today, it's like, yeah, I really wish that they would have had a dream team. TJ Jama said yes, but the judge said no lesser charges. I'm pretty sure he's allowing the lesser on several of them. Did something come out after the? I'm pretty sure I heard the judge say he is allowing the lesser on some of them. So we'll have to see. Maybe not on the murder charge, but on some of them. So, you know, we'll clarify. But I didn't even hear them say anything like in rebuttal. They were just literally sitting there like, geez, oh Pete. Look, I thought for a while there that the defense knew, the prosecution knew they were doing so bad that they were trying to make a mistrial so they could get a mulligan. And you probably heard other people say that. And that's what I thought too. I'm like, look, they're trying to get it declared a mistrial so they can declare a mulligan and start over. Like, especially after Gage got up there and admitted to that. It wasn't looking good. And then I sit there to myself and I think, well, hold on a minute. When they had all the motions today, why didn't the defense say, I ask for a mistrial with prejudice? Because just a regular mistrial makes it where the case gets retried again. It could give the prosecutor a second chance, a mulligan. With prejudice, though, means they can't try him again. He might not be found innocent by the jury, but he's not going to get found guilty either because, hey, mistrial. It's over. You can't try him again. I think that's a good way to word it in layman's terms, right? I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't ask for a mistrial 2 days ago when they actually, in front of the jury, when the prosecutors tried to use Kyle exercising his right to remain silent against him. It actually doesn't get much more egregious than that. And again, I know almost nothing. Not a lawyer. Didn't even go to law school. But some of the preparatory classes I took when I thought I was going to go to law school, look, there's like two things you just remember, right? If you've even taken any type of college levels up. Don't put the defendant on the stand. Asterisk, 1 in 1,000 maybe. But you virtually never put them on the stand. And you never, ever, ever, ever in front of a jury even consider admonishing or making the defendant sound guilty because they exercise their right to remain silent. In fact, it's an offense that the prosecutor could have, according to the people that I've been reading, some of the legal experts, could have been almost probably disbarred from, like lost his law license over that. You do not even think about it. And that's when the judge admonished them. But where was the defense saying mistrial with prejudice right now? He literally tried to use the defendant's right to remain silent against him while the jury was present. Mistrial right this second with prejudice. There was a couple times when Richards is his name, right? When I'm like, oh, he's getting ready to just stand up and object and say, I motion for an immediate mistrial with prejudice right now. That's how egregious that prosecutor was. But here's the thing you guys have to remember. We all need to remember, obviously me too. The jury didn't hear most of that stuff. They didn't hear any of it virtually. All the stuff we got to see on TV is when the jury was in the library. They were upstairs. The jury didn't get to hear the judge admonish them and say, you're really close to over the line and you're probably over the line. And what he meant by that line was like, I could declare a mistrial with prejudice right now, and you could possibly find yourself in your own hearing down the road with the Bar Association. The jury doesn't get to hear any of that. But they did hear them talk about he used this special kind of bullet that's made to shoot through people and keep going and going and going. They got to hear that. They got to see an altered image that was completely altered, that the defense just couldn't argue. You're watching them up there. It was insane. They're saying, the colors, does it change the colors? What if the color was purple? What if it was red? Would it be blue? They just couldn't. The judge wanted so bad to keep those last photographs that the jury's going to see for the first time in the closing arguments. That photograph that was out of this blurry video that you can't even see. We got to see all that behind the scenes. The jury hasn't got to see that yet. They're just going to see it in the closing argument saying, this is a video that proves that Kyle pointed his gun and was waving it around beforehand. And you can't see anything. We all know that. But they're going to try to convince them that that's what they're seeing. There's no way that should have been able to be admitted. Yes, the defense did argue and try to rebut it, but they didn't do a good job. The judge was about 90% convinced, in my opinion, of not letting that last exhibit go into evidence. Well, it's in evidence now because they just would have had to do just a little bit to convince. You've got that expert up there, the state's witness, saying, I don't know what the algorithm does. I don't know what it does. How would I know what it does? Spent 20 hours on it. On this one image, I don't know what it does. I don't know. How would I know? I would have been like, excuse me, objection. Is this a... Listen, it was literally insane. Like, somebody should have at a certain point, maybe not objection when the witness was there, but at least when they were doing the motions today, be like, with all due respect, Your Honor, who says this guy's even an expert? This photograph expert gets up there for the state and like, I don't know, 20, 30 times says, I don't know anything about this. I have no clue. Somehow the defense lost that argument today too. They're going to submit something into evidence. Well, it is submitted. They're going to show it in front of the jury for the first time on Monday that says, look, you can see right here in this video that Kyle's waving the firearm at people unprovoked. In my opinion, he's not, though, because you can clearly see every other angle he's not. They took the one angle and took a picture that you can't even see, enhanced it, did this, did that, all these different things. Yeah. That was allowed to be admitted to the jury. Normally, you would never see anything like that be admissible. There's a lot going on with this, guys. Just remember, you guys know more than the jury does. You've gotten the hindsight of seeing all the stuff going on behind the scenes that they weren't allowed to see yet. So just keep that in mind. Look, guys, this is a very, very, very important case. And I hope he wins more than anything. And I hope I come back and I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, the jury just pulled through and it was a miracle. Because I don't think that, I don't even want to say it. Some people believe, oh, you're going to jinx it. I don't believe in that. I don't have the power to jinx what a juror does or not. I'm just going to say it again for people that just joined. I don't think Kyle's going to get off on all the charges, especially now that they're, in my opinion, and somebody said I'm wrong, and I might be wrong, guys, but from what I heard today, they are going to allow some of the lesser charges. So, Mr. C, thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it, dude. He says BLM has already said they will hit the streets to protest if Kyle's found innocent. Bingo. Meaning here comes more burning and looting again. Well, I hope that's what happens. No, I'm sorry. I don't hope there's the looting, but I hope he's found innocent. That's what I meant. So I hope he's found innocent. And then we need law and order in this country. Somebody needs to stop the looting and rioting, okay? Like, literally. People talk about, oh, we have police that will protect you for your safety. Well, not really. With all these mostly peaceful protests that have gone on. Not in all instances. Let's just say that to be fair. There's good cops out there, I'm sure, right now that are protecting somebody as we speak. I have no doubt. But when it comes to these types of things, not really. They don't really stop it. They can't stop it. They don't want to stop it. I don't know. What's happening, Pillbox Bunker? How you doing, man? Nice to see you, dude. Pillbox Bunker. I don't know. So, again, I hope he's innocent, but I just don't know for sure. I have no idea. I think there were some big holes. I think there were some big holes. The defense just couldn't. I don't know. Somebody said, what will they get him on? Well, the whole reckless endangerment thing. I hate to say it. But look, I know how it works because I know how this ammunition works, obviously. But I think the state did a better job because they got up there and asserted that if it was a hollow point bullet, that it would explode. We know that's not true, but this is what they're saying to the jury. Hopefully some people in the jury are like true gun people that clearly know how to use this stuff, okay? Yeah, Coach Steve, I agree. Clearly he's innocent. I'm not on the jury, though. You're probably not on the jury. If you are, you're in big trouble, right? Because the jury can't even be online or on social media right now. Okay. So none of us are on the jury. And if you're on the jury and you're actually watching right now, get ready for that arrest warrant. You guys know what I'm saying. Look, we're not on the jury. I'm just telling you what. Look, I talk to people all the time that aren't gun people, okay? We can't take that for granted. People that aren't gun people, they don't know what we know. I think the prosecution did a pretty darn good job explaining that this full metal jacket bullet, okay, penetrates through, and there was a crowded street, people all around. I think they did a better job. Okay, I think they did a better job explaining that because the defense really didn't rebut it too much. The defense lawyers had no idea. Okay, they had no idea what the yawing effect, the tumbling effect, the velocity that's required for it to do that, the fact that there would have been that velocity since it was so close. I don't know. Nutty, look, I don't know. It seemed like a lot of people think you guys might be disagreeing with me. I'm going to say it one more time. Maybe you guys aren't. I don't know. Nutty, simple and clear case of self-defense with his life in danger. I agree. 100%. 100%. Okay. 100%, guys. Scott Plagueman, what's happening, Scott? Innocent? Yes, I agree. I can separate the two things, guys. Can you guys? Like, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you that I believe any of this. I'm just saying that when it comes to, there's some things I think that they did. The prosecution, not even if they did a great job of it, they just proposed something, stated it as though it was fact, and the defense had no comeback. Okay? That kind of worries me a little bit. I'm worried. I'm worried that he could get convicted on several charges. Some jurors might even have the propensity to lead towards murder when they see this doctored pixel picture. You guys are probably like, oh, the pixels. The pickles, as the judge says. The judge said the pickles. You guys remember that? The pickles. Look, they introduced successfully today, from what I understand. If I'm wrong on anything, I don't even need to tell you guys this. You'll fact check me, trust me. Trust me. People always fact check me, which is good. This is an opinion show, but I get fact checked. Okay. They're going to introduce a picture that they're going to tell the jury. They're going to tell the jury, shows him previously pointing at people like he was. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to step aside from my own personal wishes and hopes and core fundamental beliefs and think, if I walked up to a dozen people on the street, what would they think? And I think some of these things are pretty problematic. That's what sucks. Not because Kyle did anything wrong, not because it was problematic what he did, but the way it's been presented, with the lack of rebuttal on some very, very key things. Does the jury know? Here's something I would ask you guys. Do you think the jury knows when the prosecution said it was just a foot? It was just 1 foot that he kicked you with. It was just a skateboard and you used this huge gun. Do you think the jury knows that actually a foot is lethal force and a skateboard is lethal force? Do you think they know that, according to the FBI statistics, more people are killed with hands and feet every year than these type rifles, and more people are killed with blunt objects than these type rifles? Do you think the jury knows that? And if they don't know that, well, it's probably the defense's fault they don't know that. Hopefully we can agree on that at least. But if they don't know that, they don't know that. They might think of themselves, dude, it's just a kick. A kick in the head does a lot. So, and it has killed a lot of people. And it does every year. More than these types of rifles that Kyle used. Mike McClune with the super chat and a channel member and a local supporter. Thanks a lot, dude. I appreciate it, man. He says, just want to say thank you for all you do, 2AEDU. Been trying to spread the word about the locals community. Keep on doing what you do. We all need to support each other and go locals. And he has the custom emoji that channel members have. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate your support, man. And hopefully I give back a little bit compared to what you guys all do give me as far as support and encouragement goes. You know what I mean? Ross, how's it going, man? EV3 Dale says, dude, that's not correct. They debunked it after you quit watching. Okay. All right. All right. Look, guys, I think he's innocent, okay? I think he's innocent. I personally believe he's innocent. Many people, it appears, and I'm not lumping you all into one. It appears that many people watching tonight, and you guys are my regulars that watch a lot. And you guys are my friends, and I mean that. We'll still be friends after the fact. A lot of you guys are having a very hard time separating what I believe will happen versus what will happen with the jury and the charges, the findings of the jury, we'll call it. Many people are conflating things right now, which is fine. You guys can conflate all you want. It's a perfectly normal thing to do, and I do it too. But I'm going to say it one more time, and then I'll drop this topic, okay? I do not believe Kyle's guilty of these charges. I believe he's innocent. I believe he did what he had to do to survive, and I commend him for it. And I like Kyle, and I'm rooting for him. Just because I believe that the jury that I'm not on, and whoever's watching, clacking away as hard as they can in all caps. So please read the pen comment, Dale. I actually don't mind the fact that you don't agree with me, but typing in all caps is very rude. But I'm not really that mad at you, but the all caps bothers me more than you disagree with me, because that means you're shouting at me. So, whatever. The fact that a jury of his peers, that's not you and is not me, in my opinion, is going to find him guilty on at the very minimum one thing, if not several things, with these lesser charges. Some people just can't understand that the fact that I believe a jury that I'm not on is going to do something that somehow I don't believe that Kyle's innocent. And I've said it enough times, and if you don't get it, you ain't never going to get it. So that's fine with me. All right, I'm going to move on and talk about the FBI a little bit and what they're doing with next checks and background checks and all of this stuff. Because yet again, which we know a lot of this stuff, but this time they actually admitted the stuff. And I've kind of lost some of these chats. Are you still helping me, Linda? Or did you perhaps go to bed? Okay, Marco Polo with a super chat. Thanks a lot, man. He said, value your point of view and opinions. Go locals. Yeah, dude, I'm having a lot of fun on locals. I definitely look forward to hanging out with you guys in the stream tomorrow night for sure. And I'm not saying I'm right on any of this stuff, guys, but it's my opinion. So I'm just saying, guys, in my opinion, I don't know. I listened to the motions today when they were doing all the motions until it was over. I don't know. Maybe there was a secret meeting tonight that I didn't know about right before I started. I have no idea. Denny's plant-based journey with a super chat. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for those Legos, dude. And I'm not rushing you because I know you're like super, super, super busy. But she really appreciated those. Hopefully you get to watch that video sometime. It's over there on locals in the content tab if you're looking for it. We do some locals, Lego videos on locals too, guys. He says, I'm a member of Texas Law Shield for the defense in case of incident. I've met the former ATF agent who would help. He's good. I hope I never need it. Well, that's good, dude. And it's good to have more gun people involved. I don't know. I heard people say, what's happening, Threaded for my pleasure? How's it going, man? I heard the one lawyer get up there. I know I heard him say it. He goes, I don't really know much about these type guns. I'm like, ugh. Should probably know about the guns since that's going to be one of the biggest things, right? That they're talking about in the case. All right, let me see here. I'm going to share a story about the FBI admits it's often wrong on gun-related background check denials. I've actually known people in real life that were probably affected by this, to be honest with you, and this is a scary thing for a lot of people, right? It's a scary thing when you're all of a sudden like, whoa, I'm denied. I must be a criminal. And I know people that are like scared to even try to buy a gun again because they got denied years ago. And they're like, hold on a minute. I had a traffic offense once and misdemeanor once, but it wasn't domestic violence. And it wasn't, I don't know why I can't buy a gun, but I don't even want to try again. And I think that's part of the issue, that they're trying to make people just grow weary and not have guns, right? So we're going to get into what's going on just for a few minutes here, guys. Chris Plummer, channel member, is getting out of here tonight. Good night, man. Take it easy. Dale, what's happening, Dale? Nice to see you, man. Yeah, get them out of here. Trolls or people that just want to be rude as heck and whatever. Just get them out. I don't care. Congress shall pass no law. I'm not Congress. I like to hang out with nice people. If they're a troll, get them out. Out. I don't hang out with those types of people. I don't like to hang out with scum. It's just the way it is. Just get them out. You know what I'm saying? The fact that there's idiots that run around on YouTube that would even think that I could do anything to violate their free speech. It literally requires the listener to be much dumber than the speaker, but it's just like, makes no sense at all. I'm not Congress. I don't create law. If I don't feel like hanging out with somebody, I don't hang out with them. These same people think they're just going to walk into someone else's living room, show their rear end, act like an idiot, and they're not going to tell them to get out. Psh, give me a break. All right, let me share this article here. All right, you guys should be able to see this now. This is on AmmoLand. Mateo posted it to locals earlier today, a link to it. And it says FBI admits. Let me pull over here and grab this. FBI admits it is often wrong about gun-related background checks. So it says the last few years have seen a record number of gun sales, and thus record numbers of federally mandated background checks conducted through the FBI's National Instant Background Check System, otherwise known as NICS. The FBI performed about 28 million NICS checks in 2019, but last year it jumped to over 40 million. Yeah. And I believe that because I could see how many new gun owners and then longtime gun owners were buying extra stuff. And I bought extra stuff too, obviously. It says each year the FBI denies about 100,000 would-be firearms purchases, a statistic that the FBI is always proud to report. Those on the anti-gun left, in turn, often tout the ever-increasing numbers of persons who have been denied the purchase of a firearm since the implementation of the Brady Act, which is November of 1998 through October 31st of this year. It says the number now exceeds 2 million in total. That's literally crazy, guys. 2 million. And gun control advocates say that's proof positive that the NICS check system works and is stopping all these criminals from getting their hands on guns. But their flawed assumption is that those who are denied by NICS are actually prohibited people. And it says that is sometimes far from the case. So you guys have heard all this, right? Propaganda-wise, where they're like, yeah, these people are all prohibited people, guaranteed. It's just not always the case. And we're going to find out in a second here. And this is crazy. It's actually like way, way, way less people actually that are false than are accurate. And this is nuts. It says, notably, Second Amendment researcher and economist John Lott, I've talked about him before. I recommend reading his book, More Guns, Less Crime. Lots of good statistics in there. Has claimed that as many as 99% of NICS denials are actually false positives, meaning the person denied is not actually a prohibited person. Well, hold on a minute. Can you imagine living in a world where you could be in charge of a system, employed to do something? Because remember, the FBI and all public servants, they work for us. Don't forget that. They won't admit to it. They don't like to admit to it, but it's actually true. Imagine living in a world where you do your job wrong up to 99% of the time, and that's somehow okay. Yeah. On the other end of the spectrum, the Department of Justice tries to paint an entirely different picture, claiming the FBI's accuracy rate is between 99.3 and 99.8. Okay, so who do you believe, the FBI or John Lott? Well, they go on and they do a little bit of numbers crunching here. It says, which if true would mean that almost no one would get wrongly denied if the FBI was true. So yet about every week, GOA hears from its members and supporters who have been wrongfully denied while attempting to purchase a firearm. And so the FBI's claim seems suspect. Indeed, documents recently received by GOA pursuant to a FOIA request show that the FBI's own records undermine its claim to near perfect accuracy. In response to GOA's FOIA request, the FBI responded that 27.7% of NICS appeals received during the requested time period were overturned, and the firearm purchase, transfer, transaction were proceeded. So if they denied them, but then 27.7% of the appeals reversed it, that would appear that they're wrong at least 27.7% of the time. That goes on. In other words, the FBI admits that its actual error rate at least 138 times greater than it had previously claimed. But even this figure doesn't fully represent the number of times the FBI gets it wrong. Then they go on to do some math scenarios. I encourage you guys to read this article later because I'm not real good at math either. But they say first, by our math, only about 20% of NICS denials are ever actually appealed, often because the person denied is unable to navigate the appeals process or unable to afford a lawyer to help. Second, the 27.7% figure only represents the times the FBI admits it was wrong. As we know, many people have even NICS appeals wrongly denied. Keep that in mind too, and I know that does happen. Third, the FBI statistic does not include people who file legal challenge. For example, Second Amendment lawyer Stephen Stambula has brought and won numerous federal cases against the FBI for wrongly denying firearm sales. For every such case, there are probably 1,000 other gun owners who aren't aware that they can sue the FBI. They give up in despair or don't have the resources to pursue expensive and time-consuming litigation in federal court. And I know people in real life who have kind of just decided to take that route where they're just going to have to deal with it because they just can't afford it or they just don't know how. And it can be very, very intimidating for people to even like, who do you call? What do you do? How do you start the process? You know what I mean? This is nuts. I'm missing some of these chats. Could you help me, please, Linda? There's a new feature, by the way, where she can help me post this stuff and it's kind of getting away from me. But thanks for being so generous, guys. MaxShot62 with the generous super chat. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it, dude. Thank you. And it was good hanging out with you last Saturday too, and a lot of you guys in the chat. He says that's just pure unadulterated evil. It's too bad they couldn't have got Don West or Andrew Bronca, as all they do is self-defense firearms cases. Bringing someone in like, yep, Masad Ayub, would have helped as well. Abolish all ABC entities. Well, I definitely agree with that. And it just seemed like maybe they would have had somebody like Ayub or one of those people. Gregory, how's it going, man? Nice to see you. Gregory DeGiovanni. I probably mispronounced your name a little bit. I'm sorry, dude. But what's happening, Gregory, with the super chat? Thanks, man. He said that 99% is a directive. It's not an accident. It's a purchase limiter. Simple. They don't get it wrong. The computer gets it right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking this is just a way that, look, a right delayed is a right denied. And yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. I'm inclined to probably agree with you, Gregory, on that one. Not probably. Most definitely. Mike McClune with the super sticker. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it, dude. I'm going to come over here and let the other chat pull it up because I don't know why with StreamYard, when it posts, it doesn't show the sticker, but I can see it over here in the YouTube side chat, and it's Tactical Hippo giving the KO. Like I said, more people, hands and feet, than these certain type rifles, right? Okay, so like I said, people this often, they just give up in despair and they don't have the resources to pursue expenses. So it says, in other words, the FBI's admission that it is wrong 27.7% of the time likely understates the Bureau's actual error rate by a significant amount. It says the NICS system historically has been justified by some gun owners. We call these FUDs. And there's a lot of them, and they're probably worse off for us to be able to exercise our rights than just the vehement anti-gun, to be honest with you. These are the enemy from within that say, well, you should own a gun, but you don't need, and reasonable this, reasonable that. You only need a double-barrel shotgun. Just go out and fire 2 blasts. Remember, the former vice president is a gun owner. Dianne Feinstein is too. Has been historically justified by some gun owners and many politicians as a necessary evil on the theory that the results it provides are both accurate and instant. But as explained above, the NICS is far from accurate. Moreover, GOA's FOIA request has also uncovered records showing that the promised instant background check is by no means instant. In fact, NICS checks historically are delayed more than 10% of the time. That's a lot. If you think about 40 million NICS checks, that means about 4 million would have been delayed. That's what it's saying. And as the FBI has admitted to GOA, these delays can last a very long time, more than 3 business days, nearly 4% of the time, or 1 in 25 background checks. That's still a lot. This is hardly an insignificant number if a right delayed is a right denied. And I said it before I even read it here, but we're on the same page with that. A right delayed is a right denied, because when seconds matter, cops are only minutes away, and you're not going to be able to say, well, hold on, Mr. Criminal. Don't come in and kill me and my family. I think I'm going to get approved for that delayed NICS check in 3 more days. So could you please kindly come back and kill me in 3 days? Because then I'll be able to defend myself. I don't think that's ever happened even once, right? It just wouldn't work, obviously. What's more, the so-called instant system only works if the system is operational, and the FBI records obtained by GOA show numerous times in recent months where the NICS system has been entirely inoperable, leaving a firearm dealer unable to run a background check and denying Second Amendment rights nationwide until the FBI fixes the system. These NICS outages range from just a few minutes on the low end to more than 5 hours. Nearly an entire business day, GOA has been keeping its own records of NICS outages, and the FBI list doesn't accurately reflect all the outages that have occurred. In short, if the NICS system is unoperational, often for significant periods of time, and even when the system is up and running, background checks are by no means instant, a significant percentage of the time. Yeah. Finally, when the FBI does accomplish a background check but denies the sale, there's a very good chance that denial is erroneous. So this was by John Vallejo, and it says Executive Vice President of Gun Owners of America. So writing for AMOLAN in this case. So look, John Lott's saying, well, these denials may be false 99% of the time. The FBI touts that they're accurate 99.3, I think it was, percent of the time, which are like polar opposites, right? Well, after this FOIA request, now the FBI is actually admitting that it's wrong 27% of the time, but that doesn't count people who sued. It doesn't count people who they erred on their appeal. All these things that we went through pretty thoroughly in this article. So at the very least, what they're willing to admit to in a FOIA request, 27%, but probably a lot more than that, and certainly a lot closer to the 99% false denial rate that John Lott said than the 0.07 or 0.02% that the FBI had previously touted, right? So yeah, John Rice said admitting that they lied. Yeah, I agree. And it looks like Linda is friends with John Lott, or at the very least Twitter friends, following each other on there. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to take a real quick peek here and see what you guys are doing. I'm going to get off in just a second. I definitely look forward to seeing you guys over on Locals tomorrow. Like I said, you can support over there many ways. You can become an actual paid supporter, and then you get more access to the platform. That's just how Locals works. There's no ads. They're not stealing your data, right? So it helps keep the site going, helps me keep the channel going a little bit, or not. You can sign up for a free account. You'll be able to view about 98% of everything up there that I post, certainly. And there's other ways over there you can help the channel while I'm simultaneously helping you guys out with really good deals. You know what I'm saying? What's happening, Band Talk, and content too. I post daily deals over there, exclusive videos, exclusive live stream. There's other people over there that are posting stuff. So there's just kind of a lot of stuff going on all the way around that you guys might like, just for information or save you some money or whatever. A lot of news. Like, for example, this is a Locals post. This article was posted onto my Locals this evening. Band Talk, what's happening, man? Shout out to the Band Talk channel. He's going to be streaming tonight. I guess it'd probably be about midnight Eastern time now with the time change, right? Something like that. But you guys should definitely check him out. He's a good dude, and I like his passion and appreciate you fighting the good fight, Band Talk. It's kind of tough sometimes, you know. John Crump Live, thanks for supporting the channel, man. Channel member. What's happening, dude? Nice to see you. We were just talking about GOA and AMOLAN, and John Crump appears. We weren't talking about you, but you fit the bill of your colleague who wrote this article, and most of the articles we do cover are John Crump articles, to be honest. But I don't know. Mateo wanted to pick this one for tonight, so I guess Mateo thinks your colleague wrote a better story tonight, Crump. No, I'm just starting crap. He never said that at all. Oh, man. Max Shot 62, you have a good one, man. Alan 350, yeah, see you on Locals. Awesome, man. Terry Brown is on Locals. Awesome. There's some killer deals out there, guys, I've been posting on there that I can't even talk about on here at all. It's nuts. Terry Brown, thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. I really do. Thank you. Don't forget the wiki. So here's the deal, guys. If you're still on here and you liked the stream, give me a thumbs up. Or giving me a thumbs up is actually the equivalency of giving her a thumbs down, because, hey, give me the thumbs up. Leave the comments like you guys are. It helps the algorithm. But look, privately she likes the channel and me. But publicly, she doesn't like the channel so much. And they restrict a lot of stuff and don't like to complain about it too much. But we'll see. I turned off the ads before this even started, so you guys didn't have to watch them live. I'll put in a request to Susan and see what she thinks. They might restrict this one after the fact. They might not. But either way, you guys didn't have to watch any ads as you were coming in today, certainly. At least she better not have put them on there. So, because you guys are helping support the channel, and I appreciate it. I'd rather have your support than hers, trust me. JDV3, take it easy, man. Nice to see you, dude. Yep, TJ Drama, wiki. Oh, man. Garage Guy, what's happening, man? Garage Guy 879. Ron Wayne, there you are. Nice to see you, dude. Say hello to the missus, your better half, right? They call her his better half, and he's not going to disagree with me on that one. He says, great stream, great chat. Thanks, everyone. For the prayers, doing a lot better. Well, I hope you're doing good, dude. Somebody did tell me that you weren't feeling good. I don't know if it was a post somewhere or what, but hope you're doing a lot better. I was made aware of that. So John Crump says, JV is a good guy. No, he wrote a heck of an article. And you know I'm always praising your articles, John. John Crump, my friend, owner of Black Swan Tactical, where you can get this and other merch from me and other good creators. Look, John's my favorite, and he knows that. But no, he did do a good job on that article, John. Lots of research, and he kind of spelled it out in a way that was pretty easy to see that the ATF. So, yeah, if you talk to we'll call him JV, right? If you talk to him, I don't know, he's gonna be like, who the heck is that? Tell him I said I did a really good job with that article, and I'm glad we could get that information out. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah. There's too many people out there. There's too many people out there that just give up. They're like, well, they denied me, so I guess I could never buy a gun. Well, there's probably at the low end 27%, the very lowest end. We know it's much more than that. Up to a 99% chance they were actually wrong. So keep that in mind. Maybe that gives some of you a little bit of encouragement. And hopefully it also reminds you that you're wasting a lot of tax dollars for an organization that could be wrong this much and still keeping their jobs. Jeff said, no ads on the way in. No, I turned them off. Like I said, they might be on the replay. They might not be. I don't know. I'll decide whether I want to talk to Susan tonight or not, to be honest with you. I don't know. All right, night, Gregory. Randy Smith, this is what I like to see. This chat always makes my day at the end of the week. Awesome, dude. That's awesome, man. And that's actually why I'm here. John Rice, Blonde and Matt shouted you out live one day. A few days, actually. Good job. Dude, I love the Matt and Blonde show. I'll be watching it this Sunday evening. I've had to miss the last couple live and watch them on replay. But yeah, Matt Christensen, awesome, dude. He was actually a guest on my live stream on this channel last summer. So if there's any, they used to be called Beauty and the Beta. Now it's called the Matt and Blonde Show, which is on the Matt Christensen channel every Sunday night. But if you're a fan of Matt Christensen's channel, which I am, I think he's an awesome dude, go back and look for it. Look up Matt Christensen on this channel afterwards. He was on the stream, and I did a short little recap video too, if you just want to see like a little excerpt from it. So yep, he's been on the channel. I'm a big fan of his channel, and apparently he likes mine too, which is awesome. There she is, Misty Wayne. Awesome. Nice to see you. Yeah, it's on there. Matt came on for I think about a half hour or so. I should get a hold of him. Get in there, guys, and leave him messages and say, you and 2AEDU should hang out again. Now, I've got his email. Like, I've never met him face to face because he lives across the country, but we're buddies. I should reach out to him, I think, once I slow down, and let me know. If you guys want me to have Matt Christensen on, I could probably maybe arrange that here this winter. So let me know if you guys have heard of him or not. If not, go check out the Matt Christensen channel because I really like his videos he does, and they have a really fun live stream. They have a call-in show, which is all right, but I really like their Sunday night live stream for sure. All right, well, I'm sure I missed somebody, and I'm going to feel really bad when I go through here, and I'm like, oh, geez, I saw so-and-so, and I didn't get to say hi. So, right, Linda? I don't know. I'm going to miss somebody, but I won't because I read all this chat afterwards, guys. I really do, and it provides a lot of inspiration for me. I really thank you guys for that. With his Let's Go Brandon shirt, Jonathan James, this is like a session of church for us. I don't know, dude. Whew. It might have been the old shotgun wedding from the back of the church view. I thought I saw out of the corner of my eye. Some of you guys aren't too happy with me tonight because I want Kyle to be acquitted as bad as all of you do. I really, really do. I'm not sure what that jury's going to do, but I am a little bit worried. Guys. But I'm not on the jury. You know what I'm saying? But that's okay. Look, you guys could be in here. Now, if you're just a mean person, that's when I'm like, Mateo, get him out. But if you guys are just in here vehemently disagreeing with me all night, which I know there's some people that were, dude, I still consider you a friend and we can still be friends. Now, like me and Susan, no. Well, first of all, like when she says what, and I'm like, no, we're never, ever, ever getting back together, which isn't true because we were never together anyways, but you know what I'm saying? No. With you guys, you could vehemently disagree with everything I said. You guys could think the defense did a perfect job. And I hope we can still be friends because I'm not mad at you guys. So it's all good. I spewed out some opinions tonight. I was a little rough on the defense lawyers. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I don't know. It's just here's the thing, guys. I'm going to end with this. I get so passionate about this because this case means so much. We're obviously at a sea change in this country and we need to stop it and slow it down because if we lose this country, we're never, ever, ever going to get it back. And if somebody cannot defend themselves against that mob, these rioting, the thugs, and the craziness that was going on, if you can't defend yourself from that, then do you not even have the right to self-defense? Now you do. It was endowed by your creator, but will this government and will we the people generally, are they in the process of starting to? Will they start to? This case means a lot. Like a lot. And that's probably why I got so passionate about it. I'm like, what was wrong? Why did they let the prosecutors do this? Why didn't they just say that? Look, I'm not a better lawyer than those guys. I get it. If I would have got up there, I probably would have done 1,000 times worse. But I believe if they would have like a bigger team or more experts or just something, we can't even take a chance of losing this. Look, if Kyle loses, we all lose. I'm America. You're America. Kyle is America. She's on trial right now. She's on trial. Lady Liberty's on trial. That lady that stands there with a blindfold and a set of scales. Why? The scales are there. That's the balance. That's justice. Why is there a blindfold on her face? Because she's not supposed to see class. We're all supposed to have these unalienable rights. And we're all supposed to have a fair trial. And we're all supposed to have a non-biased jury. Whether we're rich, whether we're poor, regardless what religion we're in, regardless of what color we are, what our personal beliefs are, that might be moral beliefs that may or may not have anything to do with religion, regardless of any of that. For the powerful, certainly, but for the weak, and especially for the weak. And then she clutches a sword. Why? To defend that scale, and defend that balance, and to defend that justice. She's under attack right now. And Kyle was under attack, and he defended his life. And your unalienable rights that were endowed by your creator are under attack. And you're under attack, and I'm under attack. And Kyle better win. Because we're already in big trouble, but we're going to be in big, big trouble if he loses. And I'm worried about some things, but I'm going to end on a positive note, and I'm going to hope just as much, if not more than any of you, that Kyle wins. So let's go, Kenosha kid, and really, really, really hope I'm wrong with my concerns, guys. Really, really, really do. Nice to see you, Jeremy Wilson, and nice to see all of you guys. And let me know what you want, and I'll send it to you, man. You were asking about the price of something. If it's something I've got here, free for you. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.